There's been a lot of talk the last few days about whether the FBI planted a spy in the Trump campaign. Dubbed Spygate by President Donald Trump, he's claimed that the FBI committed a massive conspiracy against him by secretly spying on members of his campaign. Spygate could be one of the biggest political scandals in history, Trump wrote on Twitter. And indeed it would be a huge scandal. That is if what the president is claiming is true. But opponents of Trump have spoken out against his claims, saying the FBI never planted its spy in the Trump campaign. Instead, they say the FBI just sent an informant to gather information on Trump officials. Wait, what? That sounds like the same thing, you say. How is a spy any different from an informant? With all this talk of informants and spies and the FBI, oh my, some lawmakers have argued that there isn't much of a difference. But if there's one thing that's clear from the arguments surrounding the issue, it's that both sides have reached starkly contrasting conclusions despite starting from the same place, and that the terms spy and informant mean very different things on either side of the debate, regardless of their original definitions. So instead of opening up that dictionary, let's take a look at how both sides actually use the terms to push their arguments. Democrats and the informant. It all started with media reports confirming that an American professor was used by the FBI to gain information on 3 Trump campaign officials, Carter Page, George Papadopoulos, and Sam Clovis, according to The Washington Post. While plenty of details about the source remain unclear, reports confirmed that he met with the officials under the pretense of offering his foreign policy experience to the Trump team, gained intelligence relating to connections between these officials and Russia, and reported back to the FBI. Most Democrats have been adamant about referring to this source as an informant because that's all he did, inform. He didn't pretend to be someone else, he never got a job working for the campaign, and he wasn't embedded within Trump's inner circle. He did, however, play a key role in the FBI's early investigation into whether Russia was seeking to meddle in the 2016 elections, something intelligence officials of both parties have now accepted as fact. Intelligence officials have argued that the use of an informant is a perfectly legal method for gathering information during preliminary stages of an investigation, and that the FBI was focused on Russia, not the Trump team. Former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper even went so far as to say that Trump should be happy about the FBI's actions as part of an effort to protect the integrity of U.S. elections, a comment Trump didn't appreciate, and he explained why he thinks calling the source a spy is misleading. For me, if you're going to use the term spy, which I never have liked, but let's assume it's a valid term, to me that suggests using intelligence tradecraft, employing an operative who has been formally trained in clandestine collection, someone who's masking their identity, or someone who is recruiting, and this informant was none of that. Clapper said during an interview on MSNBC, so to me the informant is the most benign form of intelligence collection that you can do, he added. Trump and the spy. Of course, that didn't stop the president from bashing the FBI, accusing intelligence officials of bias against him, and suggesting the Obama administration was involved. Trump eventually ordered the Justice Department to look into the issue. I hereby demand, and will do so officially tomorrow, that the Department of Justice look into whether or not the FBI, DOJ infiltrated or surveilled the Trump campaign for political purposes, and if any such demands or requests were made by people within the Obama administration. Donald J. Trump, at Real Donald Trump, May 20, 2018. Trump has consistently called the source a spy in recent days, no doubt because it gets his point across that the source actually was an operative formally trained in clandestine collection, with the aim of helping Hillary Clinton win the election. If we whip out our dictionaries now, we'll see that to spy means to watch secretly, usually for hostile purposes, suggesting a much more sinister purpose, perfectly in line with what Trump is accusing. While we don't have evidence to back up the president's claims, Trump has repeatedly used the term spy as a stand-in for the key difference between his suspicions and the original reports, that the FBI investigation wasn't really about Russia, but was instead a politically motivated attempt to damage his chances at winning the election. Analysts have pointed out that the FBI kept the probe under wraps before Election Day to avoid looking like they were intentionally and publicly placing a cloud over the Trump team. But many in the president's circle argue that the FBI should have informed Trump about the investigation and that the covert methods used in the campaign raise suspicion about the true intentions of the intelligence community. What it all means, the connotations contained in the way both sides describe the FBI source highlights the major division over the Russia investigation. Trump calls it spying because it suggests wrongdoing and political bias within the intelligence community. Democrats call it informing because they say it's just ordinary procedures used by the FBI in the early stages of an investigation. Hopefully, the Inspector General assigned by Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein to decide whether the FBI's actions were politically motivated will be able to offer a definitive conclusion to Trump's suspicions. In the meantime, some Republicans have been careful to distance themselves from the president's claims, defending the investigation until proof of wrongdoing emerges. But at least if we can understand what both sides are arguing, and what they mean when they use such loaded terms, we can start to make sense of the broader Russia probe.